Okay, for the first image, I found a little comic, um, specifically relating this to the topic of self-accountability and having a victim mindset, um, placing blame on others for things that we can change. We saw this in our part-time Indian book, especially in the beginning with our main character Arnie, as well as pretty consistently with our best friend character Rowdy. This meme I thought was cute and funny. I think we can relate that both to the book and to our textbook, in the sense that, more of the personal accountability, but also developing motivation to keep going, rather than just feeling like you have to do this just to get through it, having a more positive mindset as far as, accomplishing things that maybe we don't think we want to or that don't seem super fun to us at first. Rolling right into the same thing, I thought this meme was great, because it's one of the most famous memes on the internet. So a lot of people, I think, immediately recognize it when you see it. But it goes without saying that in this sentiment, we can absolutely relate it to, our book, our textbook, and the life of a freshman in college. This picture I chose because, I really think the contrast between Arnie and Rowdy and how their mindsets wind up towards the end of the book. I think they really relate to that. I think Rowdy is still very much stuck in the victim mindset when Arnie has already changed so much so that he feels, I think, almost victimized himself in the fact that his friend wants to better himself when he truly feels like he can't, because he hasn't even started his goals yet. Very cute little meme that I thought was good, relating to all of everything we just talked about, and just thought I'd throw that one in there too. Um, you know, I think this very much relates to, what we talked about in chapter 4 with perseverance and pushing through hardship. I think we can relate that to the book in the sense that Arnie experiences a lot of loss, with his grandma and his sister in the end, and how he doesn't let that affect him or throw him off his goals of, academic achievement, even though, a lot of people in my real life I know would have let something like that affect them so much so that they give up on their personal goals or what have you. I thought this little drawing was great, in the sense that, in chapter 1 we talk more about changing how we talk about ourselves and our self-worth and stuff like that, things that weigh us down, that are not good for us, that do not help us to succeed or push us towards achievement of our goals. This super simple picture here I thought was a very good way to kind of show a creator's mindset, right? Because I initially thought of, say Rowdy looks at the piece of paper that says the word impossible and thinks, well, it's written in marker, I can't erase it, I can't change it, so it simply is impossible. Where I kind of think of Arnie taking the pair of scissors and cutting, kind of thinking outside the box in terms of what is fixed and what is not. And, cutting the M in making something possible. This I thought was just, it was funny. It was one of the first images I found up when I was doing my research, and I thought it was like, oh, I killed a man, but if you can't change your mind, that's something also dangerous about you. Granted, the comparison of murder to fixed mindset, awfully broad comparison, but I thought it was funny nonetheless. This here thought was very good. In our book and throughout our TED Talks that we've listened to in our course, we talked a lot about developing grit and how tough times and obstacles help us develop that. I wanted to throw this in here because I thought this illustration was great from our book, where Arnie is running through his pathway thoughts of, what am I going to do if X situation comes up? I think as an anxious person myself, I can very much relate to that. I think that the life of a freshman in college can absolutely relate to that, with a lot of different things changing and uncertainties ahead. Another grit image, very cute. Grit it till you get it. Towards the end of the book, middle to end, it's very much emphasized about how our support system can help lift us up. When Arnie gets more away from Rowdy and becomes more friends with his new school friend who's very interested in learning and such, he's able to very much help change his mindset and give him a different perspective that I think he's in turn able to kind of try and bring back to Rowdy at the end of the book. I noted in my annotations a lot that our perspectives have a lot to do with how we change and how we learn. This little gif here is from one of my favorite movies of all time, and I related it more towards like the support systems that are important, not only from parents and teachers and such, but especially from like best friends. If you've ever seen the movie Stand By Me, it's so good. It's very coming of age and especially relatable to our book in the sense that it's about young boys. If you've never seen the movie, highly recommend. The last picture I wanted to end with was touching more on base about Arnie's last conversations with Rowdy when he comes back and is able to finally talk to him when Rowdy's anger is sort of subsided. And it's a conversation that really, I feel, kind of makes you feel hopeful for the future, and that maybe Arnie is able to do for Rowdy what his new friend has done for him, and that in the long run, that's a good thing for all involved.